Hello Internet, today we're going to make a classic triplet Psy bassline on the Axis Virus A. Now this is a requested video, so we're going to focus mainly on how to make the sound design and how does it sound on the Axis Virus A. Now please note, you can reproduce the same sound or something similar on any soft synth or hardware as long as it supports phase control. I'll explain why in a moment, but with that said, let's listen to what we're going to make. Now to make this sound, we're going to use both oscillators, one filter, and the two envelope generators we have. Let's start with the oscillators. We will take the second oscillator, leave it on the default saw wave. Now, as you can see from the oscillograph, the oscillator is starting its phase randomly, and this is a way a digital synth can mimic an analog hardware, but we don't need that, and that's why we need the phase control, because with the phase control we can achieve two things. First of all, both oscillators will get in phase, they won't get out of phase and produce unnecessary comp filtering, and second of all, we can get the snappiest sound possible. So if we go to the phase control and start dialing values while looking at the oscillograph, we can achieve the snappiest sound possible. That's the snappiest sound possible, but if you take a look at the spectrum analyzer, we can notice that before our fundamental node, there's no subharmonics. And because of that, we're going to use the first oscillator to fill in the blank, let's say, and to give the sound even more warmth, because in my opinion, this synth is kind of cold. So if we'll go to the first oscillator, and go to the wavetable mode, the first wave shape is a sine wave. What I've done is that our sine wave or our first oscillator gave us the subharmonic, and I've added just enough subharmonic to match the same level, so the subharmonic will match the same level as our fundamental harmonic. This is the way I do this bass. That doesn't mean that you can do it any other way, but this is how I like it, and that's why I'm showing you that. Just before we go to the filter section, please note that the phase control in this synth work this way, and I'm sorry, I forgot to explain that. The phase control for the first oscillator, no matter what the value we're going to dial, the oscillator is always going to start its cycle at 0, or like at the beginning. But for the second oscillator, we can get the freedom to choose the starting point of it. So with that said, let's go to the filters. Now filter wise, we're going to use only the first filter, so I'm going to choose it. We're going to leave it on serial 4, which means it's a 4 dB per octave filter, low pass, that's all what we need. And now I'm going to close it and start modulating it with the envelope. And while modulating it with the envelope, I'm going to shape both envelopes, the amplifier and the filter's envelope. Now the idea is to get the snappiest sound possible. And the last thing I'm going to do is to make the sounds velocity sensitive. Now, I've already programmed the pattern with different velocities, just like that. I'm going to crank the velocity on the volume and see what we have now. Now, as you can see, the velocity added a groove to the sound, and this is basically what we're looking for, a snappy, groovy bass line. And with that said, we've reached the end of this video. Hope you've liked it. Have a great day.